Okay, good morning, everybody. We begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm gonna have Pat Conway start.
Thank you. And pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Rockingham County Commissioner meeting in August 8th, 2024. In attendance, I'll go with Zoom, City Sheriff and Captain Mann, to Jude Gates, to Jonathan Hyman. I got a William W. I got Allison Kavikoski, I got Jessica Wendell, and I've got a the last person I see is on the phone. I can't make the number, but it could be somebody from the public. I'm not sure, but in the room, we've got Michelle Schmidt, Kendra Mayall, Julie Hoyt, Trish Conway, Boyle, Sue,
Good morning.
Layla, we've got Chuck Nickerson, we got a guest in the room, former Commissioner Tom Tamburello, and myself, I'm the chair, Brian Chiricello. So we're gonna begin with RFP openings. And the Dodge Durango, if Commissioner Coyle's open that.
Sure. I move to authorize the High Sheriff to review, evaluate the proposals and return with the recommendation.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? And we're just waiting for the physical opening.
Drum roll.
I know, exactly. Still opened.
Okay,
It's for Fox Motors.
so on the motion, Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
Commissioner Coyle?
Yes.
Yes. Opening for the vehicle upfit equipment.
I move to authorize the High Sheriff to review, evaluate the proposals and return with a recommendation.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? And we have the second one being opened.
Or you have to call first.
I'm sorry.
You have to call the motion first.
Oh, on the motion, Commissioner Coyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Godu,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Now,
Now she's opening the.
another, and this is from Nebo.
Very good. Motion. So now we're at the award for the computer equipment.
I move to award the proposal for computer equipment to Zones for an amount not to exceed $57,960 as recommended by the Senior Director of Facilities Planning and IT and the IT Manager.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
Just that this was one of the most competitive of the bids, so I'm pleased to see that.
Further discussion? If not on the
No.
motion.
It's the lowest prices.
Yeah.
Commissioner Godu,
Exactly.
Yes.
Commissioner Coyle,
Yes,
I vote yes.
Thank you.
Award for the final latex gloves.
I move to award the proposal for vinyl latex gloves for the period ending August 1st, 2024 through July 31st, 2026 as follows. McKesson Medical powder-free vinyl exam gloves and synthetic rubber nitrile gloves for nursing and assisted living, and non-sterile powder-free vinyl gloves for environmental services at an annual cost not to exceed $22,238.50.
Second.
Geriatric medical synthetic rubber nitrile gloves for environmental services at an annual cost not to exceed $1,629.54. Mercy Distributors chemo approved nitrile gloves for nursing at an annual cost not to exceed $1,069.20, and heavy duty vinyl gloves for the jail at an annual cost not to exceed $5,940. Sleep RX Aura Healthcare serving gloves for the jail at an annual cost not to exceed $129.36 as recommended by the Senior Director of Facilities Planning and IT.
Now I'll second.
Very good. Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Just for for everyone out in Zoom land, it's not uncommon that we choose many different vendors for this type of thing, for the different types of gloves. And also, Jude, thank you so much for your efforts to put the spreadsheets together. It makes it really easy to review that analysis that you've done, and I appreciate it.
It's all our purchasing coordinator, Diane Batomsky. She's a dream. Yeah, thank you. I'll be happy to pass it on.
Pass our appreciation on. Thank you.
Okay, on the motion, Commissioner Coyle,
Yes,
Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
I vote yes. We are on to consent agenda.
I move to approve the July 25th, 2024 non-public meeting minutes.
Second.
You said July Oh, 2024. Do we have that in the packet?
July 25th. Non-public.
Which is in our packet. Yeah, okay. Any additions, subtractions, or need anything to change? Seeing none on the motion, Commissioner Coyle,
Yes,
Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
I vote yes. Okay, long-term care, compliance update is in our packet. It's informational. If anyone long-term care wanna
right.
say anything?
I believe the package that was included was just our annual, one of our quarterly compliance meetings update minutes. And then I can provide more information later during roundtable.
Okay.
They haven't been.
Any discussion from the commissioners on this topic?
I thought it was a thorough review and you guys are doing a great job, especially in the interim, everyone's stepping up and really pleased with what I saw.
And along with that, there was the recent compliance audit, so that will be an opportunity for us to see if there's anything, what we can grow from that. And so we appreciate, I talked to the auditor yesterday and along those lines, I mean, I think you guys have done a great job sort of really beefing up the compliance end of things for, and that's taken a lot of time and effort to put these from, the point I started to now. And we appreciate your efforts, which go right into our CMS regulations, which affects our federal funding, which also affects level of care for our residents. So thank you for that. I look forward to sort of the debrief and working together for the next phase from the audit, but this is why we do audits, so you get someone else to say, to give new perspectives, so we embrace those things.
Very good. And we're still waiting the state for
Yes, we are.
their surprise.
Any day they can walk in the door, right?
TikTok.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to HR bi-weekly recruitment report. Julie, did you want to mention anything there?
I don't think so. Autumn's usually pretty thorough with her reports and there's some good information in there. She's super busy, lots of interviews, people coming in, so it's going well.
Any commissioners want to chime in?
We have, go ahead.
I would like to ask Autumn to, I hate to say her to add pages because I think she's doing more than is what we really need. But the one thing that I don't see is a steady progression, say from January to date, of how many interviews, how many
We want to see more
hires. I'd like to see a track over.
So instead of just the 2 weeks, you want to see, okay, here's the 2 weeks, but here's from
Here's how-
January 1 on.
So that we can review trending.
Okay.
If something's working well or not working well, we'll see that faster if we can watch the trend rather than the snapshot, which she's done a particularly thorough job on the snapshot, but that trend would be very helpful.
Commissioner Coyle?
Nice to see the weekend nurse manager hired, so we can, is
Yeah, fine.
adding to that, that's a good thing.
Excellent. Okay. We have agency staff report. Also in there. I don't know if anyone wants to chime in on that.
Still using a lot from career staff and, I know we're in terms of their rate is one of the higher ones, for LNAs, so, we're eager to continue efforts for hiring, I think, and then also look at, I know, if there's anything we can do to try to reduce that rate for careers.
Yeah, we're paying, that's the highest rate of all the agencies,
Just
and
about.
we have the most amount of employees coming
Right.
from there. And maybe it's because they are the highest rate that they have the employees, but it's still objectionable to paying $160 an hour for an LNA.
Right, and maybe, we can do some price match with MES or some other, just need to start looking at more efforts towards that.
Of course, we've mentioned this many times. We're not alone in the situation with the agency. It's all over the place. I read an article recently, basically out of Canada. And they spent, went from 18 million to 90 million in traveling salaries in 1 year. Which is extraordinary. So I think we've got the plan in place. Hopefully, we're gonna all work hard to achieve that, and hopefully we'll be on the right track soon.
Allison puts her hand up.
Allison, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to mention that Riley and I have met and we've reached out to two of the agencies. One of the agencies has dropped their rates and we'll be bringing that agreement before the board in the next week or two to you. I determined through our conversation with them that they were actually utilizing their COVID rates and had not switched. So I'm finding that the agencies are having a lot of turnover in their backgrounds of staffing levels there, and people are taking over. So they're starting to do audits of their rates and their agreements. So we'll continue that next week. We'll continue meeting with a couple other of the agencies and walking through and having those conversations about their weight, what they're charging. So there is communication going on, and that has started.
Well, we appreciate you doing that to try to lower those rates. Obviously, that's great. Do you, in your opinion, you're saying that the travelers are losing people? Are they losing people through employment? Nurses getting out of the business? What's going on? Do you have any?
It's on the management side of things.
Okay.
The schedulers, their staffing. There's been a lot of turnover that are happening internally to some of these agencies.
Okay.
So then somebody else is getting put in place and they're doing an audit of things. So it was perfect timing that we had reached out to this one particular agency
Right.
because they had just undergone an audit of our contract too. And I questioned why the rates were just not in line with others. And that's what I learned from the conversation from them.
Yeah, good job, Allison. Any other comments? You all set on that? All right, so we're on to the 8 accounts payable list.
I move to approve the August 8th accounts payable list total of $5,327,779.14.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there discussion? Yes, Mr. Goddard.
I have some questions about the Harvey warrant. There's some inconsistencies that I'm hoping somebody can shed some light on for me. In January, we paid them $15,000 for general liability insurance. In June, we paid them $133. And in July, where this current one, we're been asked to pay $433. Previous to that, I saw there were several months that were around $5,000. So I'm trying to understand why the inconsistency, and of course, there's no receipts backing it up, so I couldn't figure it out myself. So maybe somebody can help me with that.
Either Chuck or Jude may have an explanation.
I know it's formula driven, so it's not necessarily consistent month to month, but I'll ask that back of Harvey. I believe they might have been back in the GMP, it might have mentioned about exactly how they do that formula, breaking it out.
So that's not necessarily the right terminology. Inconsistency is really not.
Well, I mean,
It's formulaic.
it's not
Subject to
the same each month,
Right.
so I mean, it's inconsistent from that standpoint, but there's.
It's just a
there
big
could be
swing.
reason.
It's, I mean, so I just want to understand,
Okay.
like, again, I don't really suspect fraud, but we don't have any backup on it, so. The other question I have, and it might sound silly, but in January and for probably the 6 months previous, we were paying $900 for porta potties. In June, we paid $1,500. In July, we paid $2,400 for this current one. They're being asked for $2,400. I know it's a silly thing. It's just an inconsistency that I can't figure out how they're coming up with these
Jude
numbers.
has the answer.
It's been
So
more.
More
personnel.
porta potties. So
hold on, Jude.
It has to do with the number of workers on site. They were up to 125 last week.
So
Whereas through the winter, there were significantly less workers on hand.
and we're in the throes of mechanical systems.
Right.
So
So
you
it's
have
people.
consistently, you're gonna have your HVAC, your electrical, your plumb, everybody is working simultaneously because they're all in their little, in
Exactly.
their spheres. And so you can. we're gonna see-
125 guys, that's a lot of people. They need more porta potties.
Yeah.
Yep, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, further discussion. Seeing none on the motion, Commissioner Coyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Godu,
Abstain.
I vote yes. Votes 2-0-1. Okay. All right, we're on to commissioners' reports. Any commissioners want to share any information?
I'll share.
Go ahead.
This past Tuesday, I had the pleasure of entertaining the residents at the Hilton down the hall. We had a full house of residents. It was more full, it was fuller, more full, what's the right word? It was full.
Fuller.
No,
Than I've ever seen it. And as a musician, my brass group, there's nothing better than being able to play for a receptive audience. They enjoyed it. We were performing at no charge, and it was to our benefit because we had so much fun seeing the reactions from the folks in our residents that came to join us. And I'd encourage more residents to come down when we return, because I'm sure we will. The only problem that we experienced was that the heat was running as well as the air conditioning. So there's an environmental thing that I'm sure Jude is working on, but it was a little annoying to members that were close to the radiator, but that was going on while we needed air conditioning. So I'm sure this is an ongoing problem that is being worked on.
Stat equipment is scheduled for replacement, Commissioner Godu. It has already been RFP'd and there's a PO been issued.
Okay,
If the outside air temp drops, then the pumps turn on and the radiation runs, and we have no control over it right now because the equipment needs to be replaced. I apologize for the uncomfort.
oh, no. I figured it was being worked on. I know that you're on top of these things, but I just had to mention it because we experienced it firsthand with the radiator right up front. But aside from that, it was a fun day.
Commissioner Coyle, do you have anything?
just busy. I mean, I can't believe when I am from a day to day between audits, and I guess I'd remark on the efforts of between the building, between, dealing with some of the challenges of, post-budgetary considerations, new hires. It's been a zoo, and I guess a special nod, the person I'd like to give a special nod to today is Leila, because she's like, one, putting up with all of this, but two, really, the effort that you put forth before vacation, just to make sure everything is buttoned up, all the things that all the balls in the air, and somehow they stay in the air. So I know that everybody around the complex appreciates all your effort and support that you give to us, but all to everyone else as well. So every day was like something this week. So thank you.
Thank you.
So for me, I had the distinct pleasure of picking up a former rep and a former delegation executive board member, Representative Norm Majors, who was instrumental in bringing us the building 8 years ago. It was his foresight that really kind of pushed the idea 8 years ago. And he got the ball rolling. I picked him up at his home. I asked him if he was able to crawl into my F-150 or I should bring my Mustang. I was happy that he said he could get into the truck, which was great. And I was able to go around the building, right up to the building with the truck, so he was able to see it. And he was just one happy camper. It was great. He was very excited to see it. And then we actually took the side road to see the solar field, and we drove all the way to the very back, and they had 2/3 of the racking system up, and on the very back side they actually had panels up.
Yeah.
And it was very exciting. Norm couldn't thank me enough. It was great. It was great to have him there, because we all know that he retired, but he was extremely pleased with the fact that things are going really well, and he was very excited. So Just want to report that. Do we get the travel and training request for NHAC annual conference?
I move to approve a travel and training request for 4 members of the Commissioner's Office to attend the New Hampshire Association of Counties Annual Conference held at the Omni Washington Resort, November 11th and 12th, 2024, at an estimated total cost of $6,117.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Just this is a great, I mean, we go to the conference, it's a wonderful conference. There's great sessions, and it's also a really wonderful opportunity to interact with all of the other county officials. And we are fortunate to have a really great members of Rockingham on the board with NHAC. And so Jason, Chuck, we appreciate you very much, and I look forward to this conference actually very much.
Further discussion? I just have one thing. What is the refund policy? Do we know?
Refund policy on what?
So on this, we have all 3 commissioners going
Mhm.
and yourself, right? And it's in November. There's a primary coming up in September. And so I'm just wondering, depending on how the election shakes out, if one of those slots was to be refunded, could the county save money? That's where I'm going with it, so.
I'm pretty sure the hotel has a cancellation policy.
Yeah.
It doesn't,
I read the reservations and there was a policy of what date. I don't recall the date, but it
Oh, it
was
got cut off.
2 or 3 weeks
Okay.
for the hotel. Now, I don't know anything about the registration for NHAC. I didn't see that.
Okay.
They don't generally have a refund policy, so I don't think that we can recoup that. But if somebody were to drop out of that event, we don't have to pay for the hotel.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Any further discussion? So on the motion, Commissioner Foil,
yes,
Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
I vote yes. Okay, county attorney's office, we have an assistant county attorney.
I move to approve a hiring an assistant county attorney CC pursuant to New Hampshire RSA 7:33F as recommended by the county attorney.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
The impressive resume looks very highly qualified. It's nice to see some, the recruiting efforts for graduates, and given that there's been some turnover in your
Sure,
office,
sure.
it's great to see new people coming on board.
Commissioner Godu?
I looked at that resume as well, and he got all kinds of awards, and I mean, he's just right out of school. But I
Yeah.
suppose that's what because he just graduated in May.
Right.
And this is obviously training ground for a lot of people, and I'm sure he'll do well under your tutelage.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's great to hire people right out of school,
Yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
good position for us to be. And we should probably promote it at the law schools that, hey, come to see us, we're open to your first job.
Yeah, and we do that. We go to the job fair at the UNH Law
Right.
School every year. We also work with different law schools in Boston as well, just letting them know that we have internship programs and that we're looking for people and things like that. And we do like to hire people right out of law school because they're typically very excited and passionate about the work and bring a new energy to the office. So it's
This
exciting.
guy he looks like he's got a lot of energy with all the awards and, for that he's gotten and his aggressive behavior, so.
Yeah,
And
we
also-
really liked him.
A lot of mock trial experience,
Yeah.
for what you get,
Sure.
to the extent that you get significant trial
Right,
experience.
right.
On the motion, Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
Commissioner Foil?
Yes,
I vote yes. We have facilities operation, change order request for Hampstead Area Water Services.
I move to approve a change order request for Hampstead Area Water Services Company for an additional chemical feed system to bring the raw well water pH up to an allowable range for the greens and filter to work effectively at an amount not to exceed $50,357 as recommended by the Senior Director of Facilities Planning and IT.
Second.
Been made and seconded. Any discussion on this motion? Commissioner Foil?
Good.
No, go
Commissioner
ahead. Go ahead.
I read through it and the parameters are the same as my fish tank. You have to get the pH up
That's always a
someplace
good
around
thing.
6.8 for everything to survive, and I'm sure that there's some similarity in there, which I don't really know, but you know, it's too acidic, everything dies.
Commissioner Coyle.
Jude, how are we, obviously, there's a change, this is a change order request. How are we in terms of what you originally budgeted for this project? I know we're going up, but are we gonna be okay from that perspective?
I think we had actually budgeted like up to $1 million for improvements at the water plant. It's an ARPA
Okay.
project.
Yes,
So it's been sort of a moving target. But
sure,
I mean, I think we're doing okay.
yeah. Is there any other, I mean, I'm just thinking about, and I know it's ARPA, we have our ARPA money, but you know, obviously. We're thinking about ARPA in the whole. Do we anticipate there could be other additional change orders, or do you feel kind of comfortable that?
I think
At
we're
this-
okay with this project. They're actually in the final throes of getting ready to go into manufacturing. We should see the equipment September, October, and they'd be ready to install. We do have the water main replacement project, which is coming out of the same fund right now. In fact, Friday, I'm meeting with the engineer to review the final layout. Once that's done, that will be going out to bid, and that'll be another good
Big-
chunk of change. Yeah.
But we're doing infrastructure, which
Yes.
is so critical and so important, and it's like, it's an investment in the county's future, so this is some of what, you know. Chuck?
And just to follow up on that, the commissioners had voted for some additional reallocation monies back in March. In
Yeah.
fact, originally we only had $575,000 for the
Yeah,
water main replacement, and that went up to 1.1 because I knew that was gonna be higher. Right now, there's only like consulting engineering on that. Through Novus for about $100,000. So hopefully the goal is, well, what
Come
we need
in.
to do is get those numbers on what that's gonna be from Novus, because again, the deadline for obligating all the 60.2 or 3 million is 12/31 of
Right.
this year. So-
we're coming up.
Yeah, because anything that's
Yeah.
not obligated, the feds will try to call it back. So the way we obligate it on the face of it is by having purchase orders
So,
to secure it,
I-
so.
you know, along those lines, and it raises a good point, I think we should try to like maybe in September, schedule a meeting to talk through, like pull together our spreadsheet of ARPA projects and see where we are, what's obligated, what we need to obligate, because we need to, you know, there might be a number of areas we need to get moving on.
Actually, when Leo's back from vacation, I'll make sure that I've updated that big spreadsheet,
Great.
because I just had to do the filing for quarter ending 6/30.
Perfect.
And we did spend, you know, quite a bit and obligate quite a bit. We're about 1 to 2 million below having all the funds obligated. So that's
wow.
good news.
Yeah.
Good, that's
And we
close.
did get to spending about not quite 20 million. So we have actually spent about 1/3. So that's good too. The feds like to see that number too.
Right.
So.
But I think it's would be a valuable exercise to identify what is not obligated. And thank you for all your management, Chuck, but to figure out what's not obligated, so we make sure we're not like left, you know, with the ball dropping at the, 11th hour.
Yeah, so big
Or
listing
11.
by all the projects, the big ledger sheets that are like 5 or 6 pages. I'll get those out again like end
Fantastic.
of August. So.
Thank you.
Thanks.
On the motion, Commissioner Coyle?
Yeah,
Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
I vote yes. Bid waiver request for UKG.
I move to approve the UKG proposal on bid waiver request in the amount of $40,557 for the purchase of 12 InTouch DX time clocks as recommended by the Senior Director of Facilities Planning and IT and the Senior Director of Finance.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on this motion?
Where are we?
Commissioner Coyle?
Go ahead, Chuck.
So most of the monies for these would be coming from encumbrances from each of our departments. There's kind of an offer that's hard to refuse because this is another additional 22.5% discount on the already 22.5% discount we would get from retail, being a member of Omnia Partners, all the purchasing, groups. And we've been experiencing, Ben can speak more to this if you were here, but we've been experiencing So the old 9,000 series clocks are starting to fail one after another, so why not, if we have the funds, without doing new appropriations, try to get these machines in now? And they're gonna have the facial recognition, so we don't have to worry about as far as issues with biometrics and fingerprints. Because our fingerprints do change over the years, and some people, it's never worked for them, so, and it should be a faster system too, as far as. having to
Did you say facial recognition?
Yeah, like the eye
Yeah.
biometric.
Okay. Does it store?
No,
Does it
it's
store
temporary.
photos or anything?
it's
Because
temporary.
there's specific laws, New Hampshire laws
I think it's,
that talk about that.
well, it doesn't store it, it's
Okay.
just a
Yeah, it's-
Okay,
from a financial perspective, it sounds like we're encumbering 30,000 from facilities and 10,000 from finance.
yes,
But so the point is, you guys, there was some anticipation or thought about this, and so we're not incurring any costs from this year's budget.
no, it's
all
minimal,
covered.
it's
So,
minimal. out of the
that's
current
great.
year,
Thank
so.
you.
further discussion?
It's good timing. We just read a memo on the clock failures.
Yeah.
So good to have that
Yeah,
in
again,
place already.
putting in infrastructure, especially doing it this way, is just a great thing, so thank you.
Okay, on the motion, Commissioner Godu,
Yes.
Mr. Coyle,
Yes,
I vote yes. EV chargers and maintenance plan discussion? Who wants to lead this?
I have a question to start right out.
Go ahead.
I read in the memo that there was concern that, the EV chargers were not near any flammable, materials, such as mulch and other things and I don't know exactly where these are getting located. But I want to call to mind, an incident that happened in Derry, where, they had the typical red mulch all the way around the building and somebody threw a cigarette in there and the whole building burnt down. Now,
Wow,
so,
a piece of the building.
well, oh, yeah, that's
the
right. It
whole
was
building.
significant damage. They had to, it was a year before they could reopen. So I just want to make sure that we've really looked at that clearly and made any changes that are necessary to make sure that we don't have any potential danger.
Jude, go ahead.
None of the EV charging stations have been set up near mulch at all. There's some against the steel building out back. The ones that are scheduled for the municipal building are back to back. There's 10 and they're back to back in the middle of the parking lot. They're not up against the building or any mulch at all. We reached out to Primex because, well, it started because a car pulling into Market Basket about a month or so ago just sort of burst into flames in the driveway. And it was an EV vehicle, and the fire department didn't want to put water on it. It did a lot of damage to the asphalt and so on. So my family and I at dinner were discussing it, and I asked Layla the next morning. We checked with Primex, and it seems like from our standpoint, our responsibility is to make sure that our equipment is installed to code, which obviously we do that with everything, that it's appropriately, a PM is done annually. We've reached out to a couple of electrical vendors because some of them are already hooked up, just to make sure that we're on a schedule with that. There is no bark mulch. I think we're doing everything that we can do to make sure that we're safe, but it was kind of like just a question worth asking because it was kind of provocative when that vehicle burst into flame.
Great, thank you.
I'm just trying to find the correlation because you had mentioned that was a cigarette butt that was thrown onto mulch, not an EV charging issue.
the flammability of mulch.
Okay, that's a whole different subject, but.
It was, the point was that if there are flammable materials nearby the EV chargers, they have history of bursting, having flames. So we just want to make sure if that happens, it's in the middle of nowhere, that's not gonna affect.
Or against non-combustible or highly combustible materials. So for
Exactly.
instance, like the one, in fact, I'm plugged into this morning is against the steel building. It's like it's asphalt, steel charger. So, I mean, I think that you guys, Jude and your team has really the locations have been great in terms of making sure they're a little separated, a little moved. And so the risk is,
Right.
I mean, there's a risk in anything. Your paint cans you could get combustion
Right.
from,
But we're taking-
fertilizer, but to the extent that you mitigate risks, I think it's well done.
Right. It's a risk management thing, and going forward, we'll be mindful of it if it becomes something that's, really explodes as far as need goes.
Okay. All right, let's move on to, number 4, human resources, emergency dismissal pay request.
I move to approve paid emergency dismissal pay for July 30th, 2024 for those registry of deeds and county attorney employees that were unable to perform work either at the courthouse or remotely after 8:30 a.m. as recommended by the Senior Director of Human Resources.
Second,
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
Just for clarification, we don't own that building. That's the state building. They had I think it was a plumbing or water issue.
refrigerant,
Oh,
the
okay.
refrigerant
Coolant.
leak that filled the building with gas.
So, the building had to be
Okay.
vacated. It, it causes disruptions for everybody and hopefully, it's like as if we need another data point in the effort
Why the
to
building
why
was
the
built.
building is going to be important. Put another one in
Yeah.
the,
I'm sure.
go
Kathy-
Rockingham.
I'm sure Kathy Stacy's got that in her big book of issues.
I'm sure it's logged.
And I'm sure the employees are saying, one more year to go, please. Very good. So on the motion, Commissioner Coyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Godu?
Yes,
I vote yes. We're on to long-term care services, Michelle Schmidt, and Kendra Mayo. Oh,
So we're-
this is adult medical daycare, distribution of budget funds. So now this is a segue into, we've got a couple of guests here today. I'll turn it over to them to make their introductions. Let us know where you're from. We invited you both. So I'll let you introduce yourselves, then we can start our conversation.
Sure. Hi, good morning. Thank you for allowing us to be here. My name is Lori Duff, Director of Senior Services for Easter Seals, New Hampshire. And yes, I'm Sue Reynolds from Easter Seals in Manchester. I oversee their day program.
Okay.
So thank you for having us.
And do we have anyone from Silverthorne on Zoom? Oh, yeah.
They are not here. They sent an email to Elaine early this morning that they're sick.
Oh.
And they would be available to take phone calls hopefully tomorrow, but
Okay.
they will not be present.
All right, that's too bad. All right, who wants to begin the conversation? As you both know, we've got some money that we put aside each year. We've got a budgeted number and the commission has had a couple of meetings where we've had some discussion. So, we're trying to maneuver some things, but I'll, looks like Commissioner.
I'm happy to take the lead.
Well, chime in.
So I guess historically, we have done allocations to, at the front end, right? A certain amount of money. And, this year there's been discussion about, not just keeping the pool and then you coming with each respective, resident that you're gonna service or they need assistance. From, one thing we want to do is hear from you. Is that significant? Is the process significant in the terms of the way the funds get allocated or how you guys sort of, does it impact your operations? The methodology, does our methodology impact your operations?
So I would, you want me to talk about that again? So I would say that with grants that we have received in the past, it works well if we have a lump sum of money. And then we kind of oversee that based on the individual's need. What we struggle with on occasion is if an individual comes to us and they say, I have a need. And then we have to do the application process and then submit it. Sometimes it could be a week or two before we get approval from the commission, just based on when you guys meet. So there could be a holdup to get that individual in the program if there's a big need for them to be in immediately. How it's been working in the past has worked really well. I will say, except for this past year, I feel like we kept coming to you more and more for money. But I think it was just tricky with other programs closing, and then there was more allocation of funds. So typically we are like really good on our budgeting process. If you say, I think a few years ago, we started at 20,000, we utilized that immediately. We saw the need. And then we did continue to ask for funds. There were times when we didn't have enough individuals in program to use those funds. So you were super gracious to supply us with materials, a picnic table, so we
tables,
could support
yeah,
it
exactly.
outside, a stove, a raised flower bed, so those are being used through the program as well. So as far as the process, I mean, really, it's up to how you guys want to manage that, but from our perspective, if we have an immediate need for somebody to come into program, it might take a little bit longer for them to utilize our program just because of the process.
So theoretically delay in care, potentially delay in care is what you're articulating.
It could,
So we, you know that we
It-
meet weekly, right?
And then,
yes, and
And
then we
who's your,
have
who's your
have-
contact here?
Elaine.
Okay. All right, so when you have a need, you'll contact Elaine.
Yeah, we usually submit the request and then it comes to the commission. to
Okay,
review.
Commissioner Godu?
My concern is the amount of money that we're spending per, recipient. At Silverthorne, we're spending about $25 a day is the general amount that they are looking for. And it's usually a supplement to, some other funds that they get, from Medicare. You don't take any outside funding, and it would appear that, your rates are $80 a day. And that is that 100%? Is that the full cost?
So today, yes. Ironically enough, September first, we are going up to $100 a day.
Okay,
But yes, we have always asked for the full funding
100%.
of, yes.
so the people that you serve are not on, is it Medicaid or Medicare? I get them confused.
So
Medicaid is the state.
Medicaid.
Medicaid,
Medicaid.
okay, I knew I was on.
Medicaid is,
So, the folks that you are serving are not Medicaid, qualified, eligible, is that correct?
They could be eligible, but they haven't gone through the process and some of them are above that threshold, so they're not Medicaid eligible.
And you do not accept any Medicaid
Oh, no, you
payments?
should, absolutely.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, so if somebody was on Medicaid, that would pay for the program. We're asking for funding for folks that are not Medicaid recipients.
Okay, so I guess what would be helpful to us is if they're not Medicaid recipients or eligible, they may have funds available that could supplement this service. And we've been in a position where we want to service the most amount of people. And so I'm thinking that we shouldn't necessarily be applying 100%
right,
but supplementing and giving some assistance like we do at Silverthorne, and I wish we had other places to go to, because I know there's a lack of facility. I think that we should come up with a number and possibly, when you submit an application, give us, I don't know if there's some way of giving us an indication of the need. And I'm not looking to divulge personal financial information, but simply they don't qualify because of income, or they haven't applied yet, or something to guide us. Those are my concerns with the program.
yeah, I think it stems from, if you,
Go ahead.
just backing up objectively. We understand that it's like, we're down to 2 in Rockingham County, 2,
Adult day.
facilities that help service the population. And obviously, our job here is to help people, help get residents the care they need. And some aspects, and there's an effort to delayed institutional care, so you're helping in that process, right? And so what I think Commissioner Godu is saying is, how can we, I guess, maybe you guys have ideas on how we can help facilitate helping the most people, right? Having the greatest, maximizing the money we have to make sure we can help as many people as possible. And one question in relation to that is, what is your process for coming to us with these requests? So,
Sums it up.
So we screen them when they come to us, just as we do with any other grant. It's based on their income. The folks that are currently utilizing the grant are between $1,200 a month and just over $2,000 a month, depending, and then we ask like, what are your medical expenses? What are your other living expenses? Do you have any other resources, savings accounts, anything that you can utilize? We put that in the letter that we send to you, and then it's a joint decision as to who gets funded and who doesn't. Currently, we have one individual that attends our program, 5 days a week. You guys are supplementing 4. They're paying privately for 1. The other folks, some are coming 2, some are coming 3, and you are funding them totally. I will say that our folks that are utilizing this grant wouldn't be able to pay privately for a full day. We're certainly open to a percentage. If you say like will fund, I mean, we are going up to $100 a day in September. If you funded half, they might be able to find money. They might not. It might be a case of, you know, they're not able to support that for whatever reason. But we definitely do our due diligence before we submit the letter to you to ask any other resources do you have? And it's usually no.
So
And
on
then
our,
we walk them through the Medicaid process as well. We have ServiceLink right in our facility who can help them do that.
so on our side, our budget's already determined. We've got that budget line in there. Now, it was mentioned in the past that we had 3 at one time, but shrunk down to 2. So I think that you maybe have received a little bit more last year than the previous year from us.
A lot more,
Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, yeah, I mean, so you have to do on your side. If you're going up, you're going up.
Right.
So we're kind of at a fixed number. And I mean, I guess that discussion on our side would be during the budget season, and ours, we're in July 1st budget, so next year, if we see a greater demand, you know, would be the time to look at that again, to see if we had extra money. So we want to help as many people as we can.
As do we,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Just a quick thing, I haven't looked at a billing submission from Easter Seals for a long time. Are you guys actually on a monthly basis billing the county, because we also run invoices, for all their Medicaid participants that are from Rockingham County? Because it's a very built-in thing to submit, even if they're Medicaid, to submit for additional amount, you know, and maybe on your side of the fence, if Medicaid is paying enough for, you know, in full, you can take the amount that you're billing Rockingham for that towards helping out other people that might be slightly over-resourced. For Medicaid, I'm just.
Yeah, so Medicaid, recently, upped their rates about about 6 months ago to $85 per day. So that might be why you're seeing Silverthorne billing or invoicing you for 25 to kind of make them whole. So we're doing it a little bit differently in that we're seeking people who don't have any funds, don't have any support like that at all. You know, we could certainly, are you suggesting?
Well, our way back when it was first instituted was that anyone that you're serving that's already Medicaid, you can bill, I think back then it was $10.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and so anyone, you know, carte blanche, you know, aside from those who are not on Medicaid, you could actually been invoicing the county for all along as a default thing. Now, obviously that, you know, also show that more people were kind of like being assisted. Now, what you do on the back end, if you end up using some of those funds to help address helping some others that are over resourced, I mean, that's
so.
you operation.
And what
So
Chuck's saying is if you have 85, if you are billing Medicaid at 85 and your rate's 100, then that delta is what gets billed to us.
yeah, because we could change it because I think that happened with Silverthorne. They
Right.
went from 10 to 15, I think,
Right.
over because of the change in their rates and change in what Medicaid was paying.
So you're absolutely right. When we first started, our daily rate was way less and we did bill $10 for 2 or 3 Medicaid clients that were in Rockingham County. But when the Medicaid rates went up, we stopped billing because it met our daily rate.
No.
So we didn't want to
Yeah.
take more money because that's not what we're all about either, right? So you did see the decrease in Medicaid, our request for Medicaid. Because we didn't need it at that point, because our rates were covered.
Go ahead.
Me too.
Mr. Perry.
Regarding who is eligible for Medicaid and you're looking for funding for people who are not eligible, like you mentioned, some don't qualify. Some haven't applied yet, and I'm sure you encourage them to push the paperwork through. So the people who you think qualify that haven't applied properly to get the funds yet, those are folks that I would lean towards wanting to help. The ones that don't qualify, I suspect they have a little bit more funds, and certainly, well, I don't know for sure, but maybe they're helped by a percentage rather than full amount. I think that we need to juggle that a little bit, strictly from the standpoint we want to help the most people
Understood.
and spread the money out.
And one question I have is, does it change your approach in who you help or how you provide, or how many people you help by the county allocating a lump sum to you versus a person by person basis? No. Okay, so in terms of like, oh, okay. Yeah, I just didn't know if your approach changed based on whether you fully fund or partially fund in terms of, and again, we're speaking with respect to non-Medicaid eligible residents.
Yep. So I don't think the approach changes, but I definitely hear what you're saying, and our consideration for the amount that we allocate to each person will change for sure. But I don't think our approach on whether or not you give us a lump sum and we determine how to spend it, or we ask each time would change. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just didn't know if you would budget differently, like I could see a situation where if we did a lump sum and you're like, okay, this is our budget for the year, how much you're allocating on a monthly basis versus you, without that sort of parameters, you just keep coming forward with request after fully funding, request after request.
That would change. That would certainly change. The request, the allocation of funds would change. Even if you gave us a lump sum up front, we still have to submit a letter and get approval based on the individual's request.
Yeah.
So yeah, the process, I understand in terms of the submission process, but I'm talking about like the total allocation over the course of the year.
We absolutely want to help as many people as possible as well, which is why at this point, we only have one person that is utilizing the grant 4 days. Everybody else is 2 or 3, because we do want to help as many people. The other thing that I wanted to say is just, we have outcomes. Is it okay just to let you know how powerful the DAY program is? Because we do surveys or assessments every quarter, and the reduction of loneliness has been between 68 and 86% of the individuals that we serve. Reduction of falls risk has been between 67 and 78%. The reduction in depression has been between 94 and 100% of people that come to program. And then the cognitive changes through the MMSE has been a improvement between 33 and 54%. So what we're doing is, and I know you know this because you've been funding it for a long time, but we're just super passionate about, the folks that we serve. And to your point, we want to get more people in this, environment. So we're super thankful for everything that you've given us and the opportunity to come and share our passion.
We appreciate all the hard work that you do, and that's why we support you. We understand how the program is a blessing to a lot of people. So please let us know if, the trending continues. If it's going up, just let us know. We're willing to work with you. And I'm very happy that you're here today to let us know the success.
Yeah, and if there's any information, more information or more data that you need from us, or please, if you're ever in the area and you'd like to stop by, we'd love to have you look on Tom's Bend. But we'd love to have you.
Getting close to being there.
What's your Tom? One foot on the.
Commissioner Godu.
I'll just add in that I have had an opportunity to tour your facility and thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a fantastic place. And I can tell that the residents are enjoying their time there.
Last,
You have a great
I
program.
knew you looked familiar.
last question, what is your availability, like, how many openings do you have right now? What is in terms of your?
So we
program?
definitely have availability. Pre-COVID, we had 85 folks a day, between 75 and 85 a day. When we had to close in 2020, we closed for 6 months. We started back up again with about 20 a day. We're now at about 55 a day. And we're looking to get back to the 75, 80 mark. So yes, we do have availability. And we support folks with, brain injuries, developmental disabilities, Parkinson's, stroke. And then on the dementia side, beginning stages all the way to later stages.
And of course, with that, with every individual comes the family, right? So a lot of family support.
Right.
And as you know, these families are living in the communities.
Absolutely. So thank you very much for coming. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you for all your
Thank
work.
you.
Keep-
Thank you for your
keep,
time.
The community lines of communication open, and we thank you again for coming.
Thanks
today.
for helping.
Absolutely.
Don't go away.
Thank
Oh, you
you.
got more questions, Steve?
Well, we're,
next item.
the next item on the agenda is for you, so don't go away.
All right, go ahead. I'll let Commissioner Coyle make that motion.
Sure, let's see, just.
5 feet.
Yes. I move to approve an adult medical daycare request dated July 1st, 2024 to Easter Shields for an additional client RV for 3 days per week at $80 per day.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
So the discussion on this is, first, I seem to recall that there was, as part of the request, that there's a possibility of going to 5 days a week instead of just 3 days a week. It's been several weeks since we received this request, and it's what prompted this meeting.
Okay.
So first, they're a Rockingham County resident, I'm sure.
They are.
You already make sure of that.
Yeah.
So based on our discussion today, do you think that it would be appropriate to fund this at 50%? Do you think that we'll be able to offer the services to, will they be able to afford to pay some?
Well, it says that their monthly income is under $1,300 a month. And for this resident, and they are not Medicaid recipient. So you can do the math. It's not sustainable in the absence of grant. And so I think at this point, because they're hopeful for 5, but I guess at this point, 3 is actually like half funding, if you will. And so maybe the family could supplement, but let's start with 3 and see if maybe the family, in my opinion, humble opinion, start at 3 and see if the family could supplement if they're up to 5.
Agreed.
I think the reason that we put that up to 5 into, and I had talked to Elaine, and this was maybe a year or so ago, is because if individuals are funded for 3, and then there is a need for them to come more, again, that wait time, the week or 2 in between to have the meeting, or depending on when we get the submission in. So she said, if you put up to 5 and they approve it, then you can use your discretion as to when you need to make that change. We don't have to do that, and based on this conversation, I would, at this point, never ask for 5 days again. It would probably be more 2 or 3, because we do want to serve more people, and that makes sense. So maybe we support 2 or 3 days, and if there's a greater need, then you have to find the resources for that need. Or it's up to us to look elsewhere if there's funding out there.
Yeah. Perfect.
So.
On the motion, Commissioner Coyle?
Yes,
Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Can
it.
I ask one question?
Absolutely.
So it is August now. Have you decided for the 2024 budget what we will be awarded, or is that?
So
on the
let me
agenda for
kind of
today?
explain, and I'll let you know what the discussion was between the commissioners. So we have a certain allocation for adult daycare.
Yep.
And as part of that discussion, we went back and forth, would it be better from Easter Seals standpoint, if you knew the exact number that you were getting versus the other part of the conversation is we wanted to look at each individual request as it comes in. It's more of a control on the money thing, I think. And so right now it's 2 saying that we want you to continue to come to us. I don't think I've ever seen a refusal of any of them. So I don't think that whole policy has to change at all. But that was the discussion. So from a standpoint of budgeting for you, Commissioner Coyle had mentioned, would it be easier if you knew the exact number? Now, we had that number over the last couple of years, and then we had three, but one went away. So that's why the two actually got a little bit more money, or one of them got more money.
Uh-huh.
So we'll utilize the money that we have, and then we're looking at the requests as they come in.
And then I would just, I guess, as part of that, based on what the representations are, and here's an individual who applied July, at the very beginning of July, and now we're a month later and she hasn't gotten services, I would renew an effort to make an initial, it could be a hybrid, which is we may give you an initial, make an initial allocation of a lump sum, let's say of the allocate 50,000 initially, and then keep the others for, and see how things trend. So it seems like that would be a nice hybrid and allow, to allow the facilities to best efficiently run their business, but also, give us an opportunity to look at trending as we go. It doesn't.
So that's just gonna be an internal discussion that we have.
Okay,
We'll
perfect.
We should discuss that for,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree, that we should be able to give you some indication of,
Yeah.
that you're gonna get a certain amount of money that, that we're.
So we know if we're talking to families, we can either say, yes, we can help you, or no, we can't. Like,
Right.
at least, because we'll know based on this
Yeah.
conversation, we're gonna allocate X amount of money to X amount of families, and then we'll know internally.
Right,
You
it
know,
gives
and-
uncertainty for the information you can get to give to residents and their families if you.
Okay, very good.
Thank you
Any
for
other
pushing
questions
that.
at all for us that you may have?
So,
Okay, thank you very
just
much.
be careful of this guy behind you.
I know.
know.
We just bring them cookies.
There you go.
Yeah.
I know, Tom.
Give him cookies.
Now it's your turn.
I noticed that, so.
That's how we raise these places. How good the coffee is your cookies.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Have a
Thank
good day. Thanks for coming
Thank
in.
you for your time.
The housekeeping RFP process is, who's gonna handle?
And probably Chuck will chime in
Yeah.
on this one. So Elaine and I have been working on the RFP with lots of help. As we reached out to human resources, some ancillary buildings and assisted living. So we compiled the RFP, we got the RFP out, we have received bids back. And then we compiled all the information, and then it was brought to our attention that long-term care should not be handling this RFP as the funds are coming from
Facilities.
It was, so with general government, because the money is a budget, general government line, historically, aside from like legal and labor relations and educational assistance lines within general government, all the other lines have either been reviewed and scrutinized by the finance office or the commissioner's office. That's historic. So it's just a matter of, I don't know if there was like distinct, direction that through the budget process as far as, okay, 265,000 is gonna be budgeted in this line. And yes, it was coming from what was in environmental services, but who's gonna be directly in the process?
Okay.
And
So where was that money budgeted? Do we,
it was in a general government line.
was-
It's a brand new line. That's why I brought up, it's like, well, who should be doing this? Who's gonna be reviewing the invoices? Who's gonna be following up with things? And then I heard when I was gone that the openings happened. And
So are the dominant amount of services for the long-term care?
It's almost all assisted living. And then the ancillary buildings, when we went out and requested the RFP to be serviced 3 times a week. But we are asking in the RFP, the assisted living community to be serviced 7 days a week. So the majority of the services are in assisted living with a few outside help at ancillary buildings.
So
I guess the question that Elaine and I have is that we have followed the process of RFPs as we always do. They had to come in to tour the building and meet with Sam and I from facilities. So the question then becomes, my hope is that we don't have to start this process all over again.
Oh,
Because we have all the information, we've received bids, we've gone back out to ask for additional questions, because we need some more information to
So-
present.
I think it's just aligning to where the budget is appropriate, right, Chuck? I mean,
Well,
I don't see anything else changing. It's the space,
I'm
the
just-
space that they're
I'm
looking.
just giving the history of what the lines were. I'm not saying go back and
Yeah.
redo the RFP. I'm not
Okay.
saying that.
Yeah.
I'm saying
No, I think we're.
we've already gone to this point.
Well,
How's it gonna be going forward?
similar to the Glendale arrangement. Long-term care is officially in charge of Glendale, and Glendale services more than long-term care. This seems like, but still,
The
long-term
difference-
care has the lion's share of that work.
But-
The housekeeping seems to be kind of in the same category, where you're still servicing the contract and the work is more servicing, the lion's share is big and assisted living.
Difference is how it's budgeted. So,
That part's a separate issue.
Yeah.
I'm concerned with the management of, especially this process of getting something
Invoicing,
going
yeah.
first. And then I think once it is awarded, then we'll have to juggle who was gonna look at the invoices and.
Sorry.
Julie?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Allison, I know has input on this.
Oh, Allison, go ahead.
Hi, when we first started talking about this, Jason had come to me. We had discussed it in length because it had to do with the CBA and it also had to do with the removal of positions. Jason's intent and the process that had been discussed was that it would fall under them because the majority of the information was coming, the money was being sourced out of there by the relations of the positions. And it really was serving the assisted living, their 24/7 operations. So the control and making sure everything was being done was gonna align there. I think if you looked at the schematics when we did the restructure, the assisted living administrator was gonna be overseeing that, and Glendale Dining. That was what the whole restructure and the alignment of positions was. We still have that outline that was presented and approved by the board. So I'm just putting that history in there. I know HR is part of that because we need to get our building cleaned at least once or twice a week. And I know the UNH building needs to be cleaned once or twice a week, and I know facilities. I know there'll be something separate that's gonna go over for the new building. And we weren't that wasn't even in our thoughts. This was just because of the CBA and trying to align the ALF building and making sure all of those services were done to the satisfaction of what they needed over there. Thank you.
at this point, I feel like we should move some of this conversation into non-public because of the impact it's going to have on the potential. Not, that there's some personnel aspects, there's also decision-making that maybe that this needs to be, we should move our conversation more specifically into the non-public setting about because of its impact, and then for now,
Okay,
I don't know how everybody else.
let's,
Well, meanwhile, I would suggest that we should be moving status quo, but she's already got
Yeah,
the process
yeah,
going.
that's
Certainly
already
don't
done.
want to interrupt the process.
I don't
But
think.
there are some details that we need to discuss. in non-public.
Correct, and it's probably more in relation to the navigating a potential award and the structuring of how the organization of that is going to take place. However, with respect to starting a new RFP process, I think we're all in agreement. That makes no sense.
Okay.
And it's like.
That was Elaine and I's hope that we could continue the process. Like I had said, we had sent some questions out because we need some answers to continue to compile our information. So that was the hope, is that I could continue in that process.
Full speed ahead.
Great, thank you.
very good. Let's move on to the ARPA fund request, which is 5D. Kate, you have a motion?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Commissioner.
Sorry, I just was, I move to approve the use of ARPA funds, expense category 6.2 revenue replacement to purchase a new ice maker for long-term care kitchen at a cost not to exceed $8,600.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Just a quick thing. You said 6.2, it should be 6.1.
Did I say 6.1? As amended.
I didn't know if that was a different one. All right, so discussion?
It seems like these are all very necessary.
On the motion, Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
Commissioner Foil?
Yes.
I vote yes. Travel and training request?
I move to approve a travel and training request for a long-term care services employee CAM to attend the FSA Compliance Collaborative 11th Annual Conference held in Malvern, Pennsylvania, September 23rd through 25th, 2024, at an estimated total cost of $2,280.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion?
Yay, compliance.
On the motion, Commissioner Foil?
Yes.
Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So now we are on to the department heads. I'm gonna start with the sheriff's department. Morning.
Good morning. We attended a national night out in Epping and Salem. Actually, we brought the MRAP and a bunch of vehicles over to Epping. Great event. Salem was like, you couldn't even find a parking spot in Salem. That's how many people showed up, which was really impressed with the hard work that Salem Police does down there. We have a dispatcher that used to work for us and she's coming back to work full time. So we have 3 in the fire right now where we're training them, so we'll be down to 1 dispatcher. There's a possibility we have somebody else in mind, so that's already trained, so hopefully. I'd say 3 or 4 months, we hopefully will be fully staffed, but I don't want to jinx it. We have a deputy, we're doing I know, knock on wood, we have a deputy that we're doing a background on, so, I mean, we're looking very well over here when it comes to help.
Oh, good.
So, everything's good, let's continue to be busy, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Jude Yates.
Good morning. We still have a couple of openings on second shift for shift technicians if Chuck's got anybody he wants to send our way. All is well in facilities. We have, a bunch of stuff going on as usual. The building is progressing really well. As noted, they have about 125 people a day there every day.
Awesome.
Revision is going great guns on the solar array. They're actually ahead of schedule. Which is almost impossible to believe, but weather permitting, they'll be done hopefully with the array and the panels by the end of October, the beginning of November. And then if the weather holds, Eversource will be able to start bringing in their reclosers and et cetera, the equipment that's needed. So they could be done in January or February. And then we go into that 6-month,
That's awesome.
4 to 6 month of commissioning. So it's looking really good. Knock on wood. I do have that I'll bring to the board in a couple of weeks, a request for an easement. I think it's similar to the telephone hut that we have down at the other end of the property. Eversource would like an easement for their equipment that's going to be going on our property out back here. It's
Yeah.
a pretty straightforward application.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you, obviously, to review ahead of time. I just got it yesterday, but I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal. I just wanted to let you know that it would be coming. I spoke a couple times yesterday with Amy Russo, the woman at the state who was looking for PFAS information last week. And initially she had said she wanted to know if all we're doing is a site investigation, then she didn't think they needed anything. But then when I heard from her again late in the day yesterday, she had consulted with the attorney. And if any of our testing was done on public drinking water, which it was, I mean, we tested at Windsor Meadows, we tested at Three Ponds, then they want all of our information, all of our POs and all of our invoices. They are going to use those expenses as part of their lawsuit. They will be taking all the money and putting it into a groundwater drinking fund, I forget what she said, I'm sorry. And then after they get all the money, they're going to figure out how to redistribute it back to the towns. So that's the scheme. I said to her that, the commissioners had opted not to sign on to the lawsuit when we received notice from the New Hampshire Attorney General. And she said, yeah, that's okay, or something like that. So I just wanted to share that conversation with you. I've not sent any of the information yet because I didn't make all of the copies. I was waiting to hear back from her. I left her a message last week, and that's kind of where it stands right now.
Okay,
So just so you know,
thanks, Jude.
Stay
I'm not-
tuned.
I'm not quite done yet.
Oh,
We
sorry.
had, no, it's fine. We had a complaint down in one of the dietary offices last week about air quality. And initially they thought that there was a stain on the floor that manifested when the floor was cleaned. And it's not anything. But one of the employees complained about concerns about mold and asbestos and et cetera in 2 of the rooms. So Glendale brought in an outside hygienist. We attended them. They set up canisters in one office, another office, and outside, which is pretty standard because there's mold everywhere, and they kind of measured the mold in the building compared to the mold outside of the building. We don't have those results yet. I am formulating a letter to send to OSHA tomorrow, just saying, this is what we did, this is what we checked into, this is where we are. One of the rooms, when the hygienist came, he did say that it could really use a good cleaning. The rug was not clean and et cetera. So I talked to Elaine about that yesterday, Elena, and I think she's going to be reaching out to housekeeping.
And fair to say, Jude, that's a room that is maintained, utilized and maintained by Glendale.
I think, yes, overall, I think if they want the floor cleaned, they notify environmental services. But I think in general, it's definitely their space. Yes. And if there's mold, we've dealt with it before. We've had failed insulation and, different areas in the facility. We have contractors that can take care of abatement, and we'll certainly do that. Whatever the results are, we'll address them appropriately.
Yeah, I'm happy that you did just follow the proper protocol and getting a professional company to test to make sure what it is. Not
Absolutely.
assuming that it's anything, but
Yep.
You're doing everything right by the book, so.
Absolutely. Thank
yeah.
you.
All set, Jude?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Let's go to Allison.
Hi, Julie's been holding down the fort and I appreciate it so much. I had a round robin with her yesterday and with Autumn on recruitment. There's been a lot of activity on the LNA side of things. While there's activity and the outreach is happening, the callbacks are not as forthcoming. So a little bit of ghosting there, but she has 4 LNA interviews, 3 this week and 1 on Monday. So I think that's pretty impressive because we've been kind of quiet over there a little bit, Wednesday, Tuesdays. So the ice cream truck is coming next week that Julie mentioned last week. And I just want to mention for those that participated in the Motivate Me and submitted all of their required documentation, those funds will be in their paycheck next week. So that's an exciting thing, a little additional funding that people will be looking forward to. But other than that, Julie can bring you up to date on anything else. Thank you.
Julie, you got anything else, Julie?
I don't. I have a bunch of non-public discussions,
All right,
so we can
we'll
talk
get to
about
that.
that.
We'll get to that eventually. Superintendent Henry, nice haircut you got there.
Morning, everybody.
High and tight.
So, looking at 148 in house today. Hiring for us is going very, very well. We have a group of 6 that's going to be starting up, and we have another 3 going to polygraph, and with many more interviews going on. So we are going in the right direction for staffing, which is fantastic. I mean, not so good if you're looking for overtime because we don't have a lot of it. But hiring wise, it's going very well.
Means we're not paying.
What a difference between mandatory overtime and not enough overtime.
Yes.
Staffing levels are right.
Yeah.
So good job.
And then beyond that, working with the sheriff's department, a couple of cases we have going on. So appreciate their help. Have had some other, as you well know, some other things going on with other employees that I've had to been dealing with human resources with, and some outside agencies and that kind of stuff, getting some people some help. Seems to be busy with that. Overall, steady Eddie on the rest of the stuff and just plugging along. Thank you.
Thank you. Show left. All right, we'll go to Kendra.
Good morning. So ALF continues to hold strong with the census. We have a full house at 49 with our wait list continuing to grow. We do have an AC issue that's still going on that Jude and her team are working on, hoping that that can get wrapped up. Jude, would you say at the end of this week, early next week with the ACs?
Oh, you're on mute, Jude. Jude, you're
All
on
the
mute.
equipment isn't in yet. We did install 5 window units in the 5 affected rooms. It's something we don't like to do. It's a bad precedent. But all 5 of those rooms are being addressed right now. There's an issue in the dining room. They're supposed to be craning a new compressor on, not the dining room, the dining kitchen. And they're supposed to be craning a new compressor onto the roof Friday. That's an outside contractor, and the compressor they installed failed. So that one isn't on us.
All right.
But we're very thankful for that. Our residents in those rooms are very happy and very cold. So lots of blankets on the bed. We are bringing a new staff member on for 11 to 7, which was one of our goals this year. So a huge thank you to Autumn for pursuing that and getting that done for us. And then over the past 48 hours, Elaine and I have done our compliance audit review with FSA. Overall, it went really well. I do have some additional information that I can share after. I won't take up everyone's time with that, but we anticipate to get the full report over the next 2 weeks, and we'll have to respond to that.
Okay, great. Thanks, Kendra. Michelle.
Yeah, morning, everybody. Census and long-term care is really fluctuating. We're seeing a lot of acuity, clinical acuity, a lot of residents going in and out of the hospital for a number of different things and utilizing F2 as a skilled return back, which is great. But clinically, it's just very, very busy. We are seeing an uptick in COVID cases. I think everybody has sort of heard, it's out in the community. It is as well here in the building. During the past week, we've had 3 staff members test positive and 2 family members. And then subsequently, 1 resident from their family member became ill. They had a visit to them at their house. And that resident is now up on F2 in one of our COVID rooms. So we do still have 2 rooms up there kind of reserved for those kind of cases. So we were able to get him off of the long-term care floor and get them moved up to the appropriate room. Contact tracing is significant for all of those cases. It just trickles down to everybody. So trying to piece together still the infection prevention role. There's a bunch of us with our hands in it, trying to just manage everything that comes along with that. So, and then one project I've been working on is a facility assessment. CMS released new requirements that need certain elements that need to be in the facility assessment. So we have an established facility assessment that's reviewed upon our annual survey. But phase 1 is effective as of today. There were several updates that needed to be done to it. I spent a significant amount of time reading our facility assessment and these requirements, making sure that everything aligns and matches. Just a couple of minor changes that I'm going to make by the end of the week to have that in compliance for survey. And then looking ahead, phase 2 and phase 3 of that process is all staff mandated ratios and having RNs on board 24/7. And then different ratios for those RNs. So depending on the size of your building, depends on how many RNs you have to have. And so we have a little bit of time to work on that, but I'm actively working with scheduling as well for that.
Thank you.
Very good.
Yep.
Thanks, Michelle. Yeah.
So we are not full staffed, unfortunately. We're down 5 attorneys, but now with the one you just approved, he actually will be starting Monday.
Done.
We did hire a victim advocate and she's starting in a couple weeks, so we'll be up to staff on our victim advocates, but we're still working on hiring attorneys. Unfortunately, one of my assistants resigned yesterday or the day before. And that was someone we hired that really was showing a lot of promise, was doing a really great job for us. So I was sad to get a resignation, to be quite honest with you.
Where'd she go?
She's gonna be prosecutor for Londonderry Police Department, so she'll be handling the prosecution of misdemeanors.
Is she helping or did they bring on someone?
No, apparently they're gonna have 2 prosecutors, so, and she's getting about $10,000 more. And her caseload will be reduced pretty significantly.
Yeah,
So anyway, that was kind of upsetting because she was someone who I thought had a lot of potential. She's been with us for almost a year. So, but other than that, I mean, we've had a couple jury trials this week. We've had a number of jury trials the last few months and, grand jury this week. We're very busy as usual and we're plugging along and we're working at hiring people and, hopefully we'll get more people in. So
How are you doing on legal assistance?
we're short legal assistants as
Okay.
well, a couple.
Two?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Chuck, I'm gonna have you introduce the new grant writer because this is the first time that we're meeting. So,
Molly Bullock is our new grant writer. She comes to us most recently from being part of the Durham Art Museum or Museum of Art. She'd probably still be there if UNH hadn't closed it, but she's got lots of grant experience, especially passionate about community projects from her past work in Philadelphia educational, settings. She likes to research things. She gets on things right away, so that's good. She and Katie were arranging meetings to go out to each department to talk about what their overall operations are, maybe what grants they have going on, and maybe what possibilities the departments themselves see for grants. She's already got an account with, let's see, I'm trying to keep all my websites straight, but basically grants.gov, which is like the federal kind of database of grant opportunities. So she's already got an account there to even start workspaces for grants that departments are good with, pursuing, and obviously the board okay with applying for applications. And we're getting her to be members of, Grant Station, which is more private foundation work, but still like the Canine Stand Foundation has a private foundation for the canine grants. And then again, just trying to throw the biggest net that we can for grant possibilities for the county, and then eventually to be like liaison, help out our Rockham County communities, because I think outside of Portsmouth, I don't think there's a town or city that has a grant title position. And even from Portsmouth, there's only handles, my understanding is the community development block grants. They don't handle other grants. It's also like other personnel within even, Portsmouth Finance Office.
finance or
So, so she'll be reaching out if she hasn't already to each department, and she'll also be doing what Emily did, which was reaching out to all 9 other counties and trying to form like a grants group. Because, while some of the grants are competitive, first come, first serve, as far as what your grant application is rated at, I mean, we're all in this together, and it can help other counties be able to go grant possibilities too that maybe they weren't thinking about.
now she's not here with us today, right?
She's not here with us today. Unfortunately, she's out today or I don't know, because I
Yeah.
came in early. So
All right, bring her into one of the next meetings so we can meet her.
I will, but she's already been very active. One thing that we're really pursuing immediately is an EMPG grant. We're trying to get to help out. It is I think probably going to be an 80-20 match grant where 80% is feds, 20% is the county. Probably for dispatch consoles and other dispatch items. So that's gonna be big things. That's gonna be stuff for the new building. So that's gonna be important to get. And also getting back on that energy efficiency conservation block grant as well. So if the application deadline got pushed out to October 31st, I'd rather get it done, and that'll be towards the design consulting cost piece of the solar array. So in good news, piggyback on what Jude said, if commissioning is fully done and our solar arrays actually go live by June 30th, I mentioned about the tax credits that could have up to 30%.
Yeah.
I don't have to wait to doing that usually governments don't have to do tax returns, not annual income ones or informational ones, but this Form 990 I could actually file for by September 15th. that
We can
could
get
have
credits.
up to $3.3 million credit, and not have to
Yeah.
wait till the following year.
Right, we get 2025 or
Yeah,
fiscal
so
year
it'd be- yeah.
2025.
Yes, instead of waiting until
Income.
fiscal year
Yeah,
2026.
Yeah,
That's all.
And obviously, whenever the two separate EV portions get completed too, I can register with IRS for separate project numbers on those and apply to get 30% credits on those. So
That's great.
I mean, that
So,
is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's like so
Keeps getting-
exciting.
It's like Christmas.
and
Getting
I,
better and better.
and I apologize, Commissioner Churchill, that you got the mistaken email from Treasury trying to say that we did not file our ARPA stuff. for
Well, I
2/30, but that
started
was-
panicking, but then I saw your email saying, no, there must be a mistake, so I just said, okay.
And it was, and finally on Friday, the apology email came
Yeah,
from
I saw.
Treasury saying, you know, oops,
Yeah.
sorry, you inadvertently got it, but I'm wondering if it was actually meant for like Rockland County, Virginia, or North
Oh,
Carolina.
right, exactly.
So,
All right, before that you go into finance, I'm gonna ask Jessica Wendell, because she's on the call. I didn't call her while I was on everybody in Zoom. So Jessica, did you wanna chime in at all?
Sure. Good morning, commissioners.
Morning.
I just wanted to jump on the call. I saw on the agenda the discussion about the Adult Day program, and I thought that it would be kind of pertinent to invite John Timon to the call. You haven't had the opportunity to meet John yet, but I wanted to make the introduction just in relation to the conversation with the Adult Day centers. So John is the program manager for the grant that we were awarded to delay or defer institutionalized care. So John is responsible for sort of overseeing the program and managing it and developing the program. So he's been working really closely with Easter Seals and Silverthorne to get the program up and running so that we can use the those funds to supplement individuals in Rockingham County to attend those programs. So yeah, I just wanted to have John have the opportunity to introduce himself and for you all to have him as a contact if you had any questions about the grant program.
All right, thank you. John.
Thank you for allowing me to come. It's been great to be on board since May. And it's been wonderful working with Jessica and others. Chuck and I have had a couple of Zoom meetings and just really look forward to this grant and what it can do to serve people of Rockingham County. So thanks for allowing me to be here.
Great, yeah, thanks for coming. Commissioner Godu has a question.
I have a question. Jessica mentioned that you're a little bit focused on supplementing Easter Seals and Silverthorne, and I thought this program was a little bit more geared towards keeping folks at home and monitoring them and giving them the resources they need so that they're comfortable at home. Am I understanding? I don't know what the relationship with the adult daycare facilities actually are.
So Commissioner, I can respond to that. So if you read through the grant that we prepared, the RFP asked for us to develop a pilot program to delay or defer institutionalized care. So what we came up with the program was to build off of what we already had in place with these relationships with Easter Seals and Silverthorne. So our program essentially provides financial assistance for individuals to attend the Adult Day programs in an effort to delay or defer institutionalized care. So that's what's prepared in the grant, and that is the program that we are developing.
Yeah, and that I was sort of under that same impression. I always thought that we would be having extra money for adult daycare as well. And so thank you, Jessica, for bringing that up, because that was not part of the conversation that we had with Easter Seals that was here. So I'm sure they probably know about our new program.
Yes. Yep. We have been in, we've had many meetings with them. John has been in contact with them. And I mean, John and I would be happy to, at some point in the future, give a presentation to you all about the kind of more details about the program and the work that we've been doing. I know that I have had Michelle and Kendra pass along some of the progress reports that we have submitted to the state. So we have been doing monthly meetings with the state. We've been building a website. So we've been doing a lot of back end work with all of this. We've also been working with a software company to build an actual tracking system so that we can really prove kind of the efficacy of the program as well.
Very good.
And what, I mean, I guess
Go ahead.
when I see the, you know, what I heard from Easter Seals is there's room for 20 to 30 more participants that we can fund. Now, of course, that's not exclusive to Rockingham County, but we are the ones with this program. So I think we need to really, I mean, there's the target market, right? We need to pump this hard that there's 20 to 30 beds we can fill or not beds, if you will, but day program for our residents. So, and that's 20 to 30 per day.
And Silverthorne's full.
Right. So there's our target market, and we need to figure out how we hit those 20 and not just 20 to 30 people, because actually your target for number of people is actually higher because 20 to 30 presumes 5 days a week.
So just so that I understand, this is a program to defer long-term care. And the concept is that they will end up in whatever variety of adult daycare.
Or home care.
Well, do you have any plans for home care?
No,
This is just about
Oh,
Okay, so
No.
I'll look forward to a full presentation because
yeah,
that was not what I thought was going on.
okay. Anyway, so the only other caveat to that is we know that the pilot program is a 2-year program. We don't know what the future status would be, but I think it's good that it's state money and we can utilize it for people that are in need. So, all right, we'll have you in a future meeting and we'll have more discussion. But thank you, Jessica.
sounds
Right,
good. And I would be happy to send you over the original grant proposal as well, if you would like to review the details of what was awarded to us by the state.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Thank you, Jessica. All right, Chuck, on finance.
Again, just came back from vacation, so most of the time I spent working on vacation was about the grant stuff with SLF.
Okay. All right.
So just proceeding forth, we're working with Kathy Masso in long-term care as far as preparation for that Medicaid cost report, because before you know it, it'll be September 30th, and we'll be delivering that report up to DHHS. I checked in with DHHS about the county cap allocations, because we actually got our first state bill, but hadn't had the county caps for the gross cap and everything, and the $5 million allocation credit that each county got from DHHS that hadn't gone out yet. And usually that came from HAC, but I reached out directly to the individual at DHHS, Kyra Leonard, who sent out last year. So I didn't get a response yet, but if I'm looking at things right, we got lucky again as far as that our 3-year average percentage of claims must have decreased fortunately compared to the other 9 counties, and our actual allocation gross cap decreased.
Wow.
If I can rely on that first bill out from the state. So it's good news for the budget.
Yeah, we're all
Already. I like
Good
that.
luck,
Good
so.
news, because again, once we get the allocation gross cap, multiply by 12.
Right.
And you know what it's going to be, and I can compare that to budget, so
Yeah.
it's good news. So.
And, go ahead, continue.
And, payrolls have been, a bit difficult, but we're working through things. It'll be good. Folks will appreciate seeing the motivate me monies coming out, so that's good. So, just working through things. We have some outreach to, retirement system, because it seems like we're getting like on 340 individuals, getting like 77 exceptions on the monthly file. It's because NERS is not correcting with the new system. The exception threshold for wages are, supposed to be 50% from what they normally are. Their threshold, some reason they're doing 5%. And that's not what it's supposed to be. So poor Leslie in my office is having fun working through those things.
All right, I wanted to just take a moment to thank you very much for getting us, the 3 commissioners, the numbers for the county apportionments before this even really kind of published, which is kind of great because I can share that with the towns that I represent. But thank you for that.
You're welcome. It would have been out earlier, but one town, not in Rockin County, actually appealed. And you have to go through, the ERA has to go through all the appeals process.
But even if one town outside the county, it's everything.
Because it's one, so the equalization survey, well, it has all 10 counties, it's a report on all communities in New Hampshire. So one town can hold up that report, and once we get that, I mean, I like to get that in May or June, because for you, the commissioners.
Yeah.
I can crunch numbers and within like $1 rounding, you can have certainty,
Right.
each town can have certainty, because they paid the aggregate amount allotted to them.
Yeah.
And then you can inform Neotown or cities like Portsmouth, who have the June 30 year end. Hey, within $1, this is what you have to pay the county, so we can budget for that.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's unfortunate that it didn't come out until very late.
Well, all right. I'm gonna go to Layla, who's probably smiling right about now because she's looking at the clock. Time's ticking to get on to really nice vacation for her. So,
Yes.
Layla.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hi. So the public hearing legal notice is in today's Union Leader. The public hearing is for August 22nd. It will be in here. I didn't.
Hearing
Oh,
for
the
Yeah,
sheriff.
sheriff's-
the
Yeah.
sheriff's public hearing.
Uh,
Right.
Okay, perfect.
It's also posted on the website and in the Singer entrance.
Yep.
I want to remind everyone that next week's meeting is for payroll approval only, with the exception of the meeting with long-term care for budget. And next week's meeting will actually be my third year in this position. I've been with the county for 9 years.
Yeah.
This past June, but next week's meeting will be my third year anniversary.
And you won't be here.
I will be celebrating elsewhere.
Well, congratulations.
You put up with us for that long.
Doesn't seem that long.
I know, it doesn't. Time goes by quickly.
Seems like forever.
All perspective.
All right, I think did I get everybody? I did, right? So now we're gonna go to new business, old business. Does anybody have any new business, old business?
Yes, just the new bit to move to approve the July 24th, 2024 non-public meeting minutes.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? I have some discussion. Yeah, you're referencing this?
Yep.
Okay, because it says Thursday, July 24th.
I think I wrote Wednesday, maybe that was just cut and paste, but it should be Wednesday, so we
Okay.
can fix that. The date was July 24th.
23rd, you're talking the 23rd, because we met the 23rd and the 24th. That's why I'm a little bit confused. I'm just trying to get clarification.
The meeting that I'm in reference to is July 24th, which
Which is
was,
a Thursday.
July 24th was a Wednesday.
No,
Yeah,
So,
Wednesday, July 24th.
That's when
this
the,
is thrown.
That's when we did the interview.
yeah,
Okay,
I'm sorry,
Is there an error on that draft?
well,
it just populated when it was it was just creating, the meeting still said,
no, I gotcha.
but because they're always Thursday, so it was just a cut and paste. July
Right, yeah, I'll
24th
look at my
was
calendar
this
now.
Wednesday, which is when it took.
All right, so the 24th, this is the meeting that we met in HR, correct?
Correct.
All right, so the only issue that I have is that it was posted as a meeting. The 3 commissioners came in to do the interview, but we never voted to go into non-public. So it's actually technically a public meeting. It's not a non-public because we didn't vote to go in non-public and we didn't vote to come out of non-public. So I don't want to call it non-public session.
Well, it was a non-public session, the minutes just don't get sealed.
No, you can't. You've got to go into public session and then vote to go into non-public. We never did.
You are the chair, right?
Yes,
If you lead meetings,
absolutely.
your job is to open the meeting.
But it wasn't done.
I'm saying your job is to open the meeting.
Absolutely.
You never started opening the meeting.
No, but 3 commissioners the same. You both
just-
didn't either. You both know the rules, 91A. No one picked up on that.
You're the chair.
Absolutely.
Your job is to lead a meeting.
Yes.
When I was running late and I said, hey, one day, and I was a few minutes late, and I said, hey, would you mind waiting a few minutes to start the meeting? And I reached out, you said, no, I'm the
Yeah.
chair, I start the meeting,
Correct.
and you started the meeting.
Correct.
Okay, so in this instance, I just want to go back a little bit.
Sure.
And so in this, with respect to this meeting, when I got there, you two were already there.
Yes.
Okay. And you had told Commissioner Godu before I got there.
How would you know this?
You had told Commissioner Godu about the process, that you were unhappy with the process.
I don't recall that, but go ahead.
Okay, well, so
So did you two discuss that?
we, in that meeting, Commissioner Godu, while we were still there, said that, you had said you were unhappy with the process.
I don't remember that because I was dead, so,
You were, so,
but anyway,
but I'm,
make your point, because it's not gonna change the fact that we
So-
did not go into nothing.
so when I arrived, you guys had already started, you had started the meeting.
No,
You were talking about business.
no.
You were talking about the process.
What does this have to do with the non-public?
I'm saying that you had already started the meeting. You had a quorum, correct? To make a quorum.
3, when you came in, is
Two,
when everything
no,
began.
no. But before that,
Okay,
you
so, all right.
had communications with Commissioner Godu about the process and your
I don't recall
dissatisfaction.
that.
The point is,
Mhm.
you as chair, you'd agree, you as chair has an obligation to open the meeting.
Yes,
And you, at no point did you ever open that meeting.
you're on 100%, and I'm saying that I heard, and I made a mistake.
Okay,
But that doesn't change the fact that we did not, as a group, go into non-public session. So you trying to create non-public
well, I
is
mean,
really not being transparent with the public.
well,
So-
let's talk about transparency.
Yes, absolutely.
So we're gonna talk about transparency. We agreed, so in the course of this, so I guess, well, let me back up, because you, this transparency, I watched the meeting minutes from last week.
Yes.
So what is it, let's start there. What is it that you'd like to do with respect to those minutes?
Nothing. It's a public meeting. It's not non-public.
So what are you asking?
The RSA's are clear. Go into non-public, you have to vote to go into non-public. Did you vote to go into non-public?
No, you guys had already
Did you
started the
vote to go into
meeting.
non-public?
No.
So then why am I looking at non-public minutes?
So do you want meeting minutes? I mean,
Yes.
I didn't,
I have a question.
I'm
How
not-
was this meeting posted? I didn't personally see the posting. Was it posted
Yes.
in the normal places?
yes, as a
And-
non-public.
And what did
No,
it
you
say?
can't post as a non-public.
Why
What
would,
did it just say that there was a meeting to be held, or did it specify that there was a non-public meeting to
No,
be held?
and,
This is an unusual case, and I believe that
But-
there is a procedural error.
yes.
But because we should have, apparently, and I was a little unfamiliar with this process because it was a job interview. It was a meeting, but it was really a job interview.
interviews, I'm sorry,
Let
may I
them-
back up for just one
Can you let
second?
him finish first, please?
I was just gonna say, under 91A, hiring and is a non-public.
Yes. No one's disagreeing with that.
So, we did not go through the normal procedure of a meeting. I will agree with that.
Right.
But, I think it was clearly the understanding of, each of the commissioners that this was a job interview meeting, which is covered under non-public. And in that case, we did not invite or welcome anybody from the public, and had somebody from the public shown up, we would have told them that they weren't welcome at this time.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was in spirit of what we did. It was a non-public meeting. It's just that, you didn't run the meeting the way it should have been run.
Okay, so I'm going to agree that there was an error done. I'll take some of the blame, but as Commissioner Coyle's done for 3 years, always corrects me when I'm wrong. And she likes to, and she enjoys doing that. She didn't actually find out it was a non-public meeting. Now, you can call it whatever you want. The RSA's are clear. You go into a regular meeting, you call for a non-public. We did not do that.
You
So,
didn't do-
no,
Because
we
when I
did not
showed
do
up,
it.
you guys
We,
were already
we, the
I
three
agree.
commissioners.
No one did it.
And I'm not running from that fact. All I'm saying is I'm not going to backtrack. Okay, and pretend that we were in non-public, so the public doesn't know that. That's
Well-
not transparency.
Well, that you keep talking about transparency, and I want to talk to you a little bit about that. And you were the one to rate. It was a non-public session. Whether the issue for the public, wait, please. The issue for the public and with respect to non-public is within a non-public session, you have a right to seal the minutes.
We
Wait, let
weren't
me-
in non-public.
Please, I would ask that you give me the opportunity to finish. So the point of a non-public session is that you have the ability to seal the minutes.
Mhm.
And in this instance, we didn't seal any minutes. So although it was noted, and it was noticed up as a non-public session, we didn't seal the minutes. So now the minutes, it is from a non-public meeting, but there are no minutes sealed. So if the public wants access to the minutes, they have a right to them. That's the remedy.
Yeah, so here's what I'm gonna do. If you both feel comfortable moving forward, I'm going to recuse myself, walk out of the room calmly for this one particular vote. Because I know what the RSA's are. I confirmed with an attorney and other people on this issue. We did not vote to go into non-public. That's where I'm gonna stand. If you guys want to vote on that, please let me know now, because I'll let Steve Gadu take over. And you can vote to go take the non-public minutes, which were illegal.
I'd like to continue talking about why it is that your remedy to every situation when you don't get your way is to
It
walk out
has
of the
nothing to
meeting.
do with
Yeah,
that.
let's not go back to this transparency thing. So we
Listen,
have,
I'm not gonna go into a big battle with you over all kinds of stuff. It's just, we're off topic.
no, we're not.
We're
still
off
on
topic. The topic is, do you want to go into do you want to vote on the non-public session? Okay, take the minutes. So,
That is the topic.
Sure.
okay,
that is
so
the topic.
if you both are ready to make that motion,
Okay.
are you both ready to make that motion?
The motion has been made and seconded.
Well,
There's
first
a
off,
motion on the floor. Am I incorrect?
There is
there
a
was no
motion
motion.
Is the
on
motion on the floor?
we're in discussion, so
There's a motion.
I'm going to recuse myself because this is illegal. So, Steve, you are now vice chair, you take over. And just let me know when you're done, and we'll move on to the next one.
Move the minutes.
I've already made the motion, so you just need to call the motion.
Okay. Commissioner Court,
Yes.
you vote on
Yeah.
and I vote yes. Come on back in.
All set?
I have a motion.
We voted on the motion.
Okay. So we're on to the next.
I have new business.
Go ahead.
I move to vacate the chair.
Second. Let's discuss that.
Let's discuss it.
Sure. There has been, we have continued to put up with, when you don't get your way, you walk out of the meetings. You've done it in the non-public session, you've done it repeatedly. And I have seen this more often than not. And as the chair, you can disagree, and it doesn't mean that you don't have to continue to conduct your business. I have seen with this last instance, you continue to subvert the will of the board or the decisions of the board. And at this point, that's how I feel that, that the remedy at this point, based on your continuous walking out, is to,
I'm not going to participate in illegal maneuvering. Okay,
not-
I refuse to.
I'm not.
And I'm actually glad that YouTube is now playing. So that's where I'm at. As I mentioned, I confirmed with an attorney and other people that know 91A,
I'm not,
top to bottom, and we did not vote to go into non-public, therefore it's not non-public.
I'm not just talking
You
about
are
this.
trying to go back in history and create non-public minutes. They're right here. You've got even labeled non-public minutes.
I said,
Okay, so that is not transparent,
they're unsealed.
and I'm not gonna participate in that.
It's not just that.
It has nothing to do with
Commissioner Chercello.
sailing.
It-
It
you-
means we never went into non-public.
Commissioner Chercello, my motion isn't predicated just on this. It's a continued.
No, we all know what it's predicated on, but that's okay. All right, Steve, you got anything to say?
Well, I tend to agree with Commissioner Coyle. I wasn't anticipating that coming out of this meeting. But I agree that the behavior has not been becoming of the chair. And the reason that we did not
handled this meeting properly is because the chair did not handle it. And I'm particularly unhappy that you didn't sign the notification to staff that we had employed a new director of long-term care. And I think that it further exemplifies that we're not working as a team. And I think it's appropriate for you to step down.
Okay, so now I will say, I think this is a political stunt, number one. I
No,
told
I mean-
you, I told you right out of the gate that I did not like the process of interviewing one. Everyone that I've talked to are telling me that I'm on the right path. So this is a political stunt, but listen, it's the way it works. So if you want to vacate the chair, then that's fine. That's
This
fine with
isn't a
me.
political stunt.
It
I
is,
haven't
it
just,
is,
you
It
can,
is not.
absolutely.
this is my doing based on your
All right,
behavior.
so I guess Steve is the new chair.
You have to call the motion.
You don't have to call for the vote, we already know what's going on.
We have to
Steve can call the vote.
On the motion,
Yes,
yes.
okay. Well, I mean, we have to, I think the remedy is we have to vote a chair. That's the next step in the process.
No, Steve takes it, he's vice chair.
Well, at the moment, I am,
Oh, fine, we'll
Vice
take it up
chair.
next week.
and I'm not prepared to have that discussion. This is not really anything I had anticipated before this meeting began, so I'm not even sure what to think about it, except that I agree. So is there any other new business?
No.
Do we have any comment from the public? Anybody like to say anything?
Nice to see you guys. I missed this.
All right,
We're
then
gonna,
I would say we take us into non-public.
I move to enter into non-public pursuant to 91A:3, section 2, personnel, and invite the county, in the first instance, the county attorney. And obviously the. Well,
Yeah,
do
and I have a couple of things that I've been.
Second,
you want to call the motion?
and I'll call the motion, Commissioner Coyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Chercello,
Abstain.
and I vote yes.
Okay.
We're in non-public. Thank you very much, everyone. See everybody.
So we have come out of non-public. We had a number of non-public sessions, and I'm going to make some motions regarding those non-public sessions, followed by some additional motions. So with respect to the non-public session 1 regarding the county attorney's office, non-public session 2 regarding the Department of Corrections, and the last 2 non-public sessions which related to long-term care, I move to seal all those minutes indefinitely because in each instance, they could adversely affect the reputation of someone other than a member of this board.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'm gonna make 2 additional motions. I move to approve hiring an assistant county attorney GB pursuant to New Hampshire RSA 7:33F as recommended by the county attorney.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
I think we need a roll call.
Yeah,
Commissioner Chercello?
Yes.
Commissioner Coyle?
yes.
And I vote yes.
Okay, and I make a further motion to approve the continuation of stipends until September 14th, 2024 for the following long-term care employees, KM, MMS, and EW.
Second.
Second. Sorry, I'm used to that. Those in favor?
Just
Roll call.
Roll call. Commissioner Coyle?
Yes,
Commissioner Chercello?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
and I move to approve the continuation of a stipend for acting licensure Ray Bauer until September 7th, 2024.
Second.
Motion on the floor. Commissioner Chercello?
Yes.
Commissioner Coyle?
Yes.
I vote yes.
And I move to adjourn.
Actually, Ellison had one, didn't Ellison want one thing?
You have
It
more,
was-
Alice?
Sorry.
It was just about me personal. Is that okay? I was wondering if it was possible if I could just reach out to see if there's a wheelchair to borrow for a couple weeks.
Yes.
I mean, I'd like to ask that, but I could use it, for just a little bit. And, it'll be kept in good condition and stuff, only if there's one available. If there's not one available, I'll deal with it externally. Does anybody have any problems with
No.
that?
I have no objection.
No, Allison, and if you run into a situation, let me know. I have access to a wheelchair temporarily if there is none for you.
Yeah, I would only ask if they have one. It would just be helpful for a little bit, just a couple weeks. Thank you. Thanks.
All right, so no further business. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second, motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Right.
Aye. We're done. Thank you very much.